So pumpkin bread or pumpkin cake. Is it bread or cake? Either way, that's what we're making today. So I'm sure, as you know, and I've mentioned this before on the channel, I am not much of a baker. In fact, as far as my culinary experience goes, it lags way, way behind my cooking. But to me, that's not a reason to not try it or learn. I think part of this journey for me has been the ability to try new things, kind of put my foot out there, and even if I fail, I'm gonna give it a shot, because ultimately at the end of the day, I'm gonna get better and then learn from my mistakes. Baking, though, has always been a little bit less exciting for me because it seems like there's maybe less room for creativity. It's kind of very by the numbers and more scientific in that aspect. Whereas cooking, I have a lot more freedom in terms of what I can use and what amount. But I'm hoping as I pick up my baking skills that I'll be able to learn the nuances and then become more creative in that realm. So I did a dessert a few weeks ago on a berry crumble, and I have to admit that's my favorite dessert I think that I've ever made. So today we're gonna give pumpkin bread a shot given the time of the year. So first things first, we have to go over our ingredients. And as with most baking projects, you have to separate your dry ingredients from your wet ingredients. So the base of our pumpkin bread is going to be some oat flour. I prefer oat flour because I think it is the closest to all-purpose flour when it comes to gluten-free alternatives. And obviously when it comes to oats, you want to make sure that you're getting gluten-free oats due to cross-pollination, cross-contamination with other grains. So if you have a gluten sensitivity, that's something you want to watch out for. Now the rest of the dry ingredients that we're using today are really just spices. So we're adding a little bit of salt, cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, and allspice. And basically what we're gonna do here is combine all these ingredients in a bowl together and then whisk them to combine so they're evenly incorporated amongst themselves. Now we're going to repeat this process with our wet ingredients. So the wet ingredients we're using today is actually a can of pumpkin puree. We're going to be using some maple syrup as a sweetener, a little bit of your favorite nut butter, and a flax egg, which is ground flax and water whisked together, and then you let it sit at room temperature till it thickens up a bit. And that is obviously going to be taking the place of what an egg would. And then the same story here, we're going to combine all these ingredients in a larger bowl. We want to make sure these are all evenly combined and whisk together. And take the extra time to whisk this together because this is going to ensure that each bite of the pumpkin bread or cake is going to taste the same. And then once that's done, we're going to take our dry mixture and add it to the wet mixture slowly in parts, and then we're going to whisk to combine until all of our dry mix has been added to the wet mix, and it should form something like a dough that you see here. Next, we're going to take this dough and add it to a lined baking tray, and then we're going to place this tray in our preheated oven, which has been preheated to 350 degrees. And we're going to let this bake for 50 minutes to about an hour. Basically, you're going to bake this until you can take a toothpick, put it through the bread, take it out, and little to no crumbs are sticking to the toothpick. And then that's it. You've officially made your pumpkin bread. So you can garnish this however you like. I'm actually going to add some toasted pumpkin seeds and some pomegranate. And to me, for this time of year, there are very few other treats that I enjoy. So I hope you enjoy this version too. So thank you for tuning in this week. I hope you enjoy this recipe. Please post it if you end up making it. I'd love to see it on social media, wherever you post it. And feel free to share this recipe with other friends, as this is the season of giving anyway. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week.